So in this situation now, since they say that it just might work for a couple of things like curing cancer, boost stamina, and diabetes, eliminate diabetes, you don't feel that since you say that our laboratories are the best that we have, possibly in the West African region, shouldn't you have already swung into action to try to see that if placenta works, does the black placenta have the elements that can work for the black people?
That's a very good question again. The thing is that this news just broke, which was last week. I didn't know anything about placenta working to cure cancer.
So are you going to explore it? Are you going to explore that possibility now?
It's going to be likely, first of all, because I want to get more details from my counterpart in China to see how they made it. Because if it is in form of capsules, there is a tendency for biological materials to degrade faster if it's in form of capsules. So I don't know which form this placenta hominis is. But there are many technological advances where you use genetic components to treat one disease or the other. But that is what we can do in Nigeria. For example, the particular human remains that is supposed to be in form of capsules may actually be adulterated placenta hominis. It might have been adulterated by adding other things to it. Because I read online that this placenta hominis can be adulterated, and if it is an adulterated product, then we have to be very, very worried about it, especially when the NIA also mentioned viruses. It doesn't sound right to me. The most important thing is for us to enlighten our public and to be on the lookout to make sure that it doesn't, and if it does, we confiscate it. But so, if we're going to confiscate it, we're going to test it.
Because we understand that these drugs that has no name were smuggled via mail, yes. International mails. So one wonders if our NIPOST here are you working with NIPOST to try to identify if there's a possibility, possibly a chance, that this has actually filtered through since it's just very meager, just in thousands, and it contains virus, we understand.
Actually, we don't work with NIPOST, we work with DHL, we work with UPS. I don't think NIPOST goes international. I may be wrong.
Perhaps that's the reason. That's the reason why it was used as a decoy or as an underground platform to bring in those drugs.
No, what I'm saying is because it's an international courier delivery, it should be DHL, FedEx, UPS, such courier organizations. NIPOST, we don't work. Of course, we work with them within the country, but we don't work with them in terms of international mails that are coming in. But we work with DHL a lot, and our Post Inspection Directorate is on top of this. They've set alert at DHL, at UPS to be sure that things like this don't come in. And also, if it is biological product, then it may have some smell, especially because it's in capsules. It may have some smell, and that is another thing that may, make people to be suspicious of whatever delivery that they're getting, if it is actually these capsules with human remains.
So we're going to look at the policy direction for NAFDAC. That will be shortly after we return from this break. Join us again. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. I still have with me Professor Moji Adeyeye, the Director General of NAFDAC. We've been looking at that drug that doesn't have a name, but you call it the placenta hominis.
Actually, I'm not calling it that way. That was what my colleague in China said they have as human parts in form of pharmaceutical formulation. That is the closest we've gotten to in terms of our investigation.
Without no sutics to it, or cology to it, or cognosy to it.
That's right.
But let's look at what the policy direction is for NAFDAC today? Because I know that in recent times, a lot of people, and even on social media, people have consumed some drugs, even some food, possibly maybe even water, and have had adverse reactions, very troubling situations we saw. I'm wondering what EFSAN, which is under your purview, under NAFDAC, has been able to do to try to see that these excesses are contained or even investigated in the first place?
Actually, we do a lot. Our work at NAFDAC is round the clock. We've shut down a water company very recently because it is being produced under unhygienic conditions. We make a lot of seizures. But let me start with drugs. The National Pharmacovigilance Coordination has a secretariat in NAFDAC. We do a lot of adverse event reporting and collation of data. In fact, my directorate, which is pharmacovigilance and post-marketing surveillance, they do a lot of dissemination of adverse events, especially for essential medicines like antimalarials, antibiotics, things like that. So we have a very robust reporting mechanism, and we work with 6 pharmacovigilance centers in the country. They are based in the teaching hospitals. So we have a very good, firm grip on drug adverse events reporting for drugs. For post-marketing surveillance, that particular directorate works with EFSAN. If we see a food that is unwholesome, we know about a food that is unwholesome, the 2 directorates collaborate and they go out and mop that particular product. If it is registered and it's expired, we give them, citation for breaking our rules and policies. So we work around the clock in terms of making sure that wholesome food, quality medicines are the things that get to our population. That is our 24/7 job. And also we make sure that, we go into additives, what is added to our food products. Very, very important, because some of those additives may make us sick. So we review our policies, or excuse me, the profiles of drugs to be sure that there are no additives. One good initiative that we are starting now is what we are calling product life cycle pharmacovigilance or post-marketing surveillance. Meaning that if something is coming from overseas, we do, instead of giving approval just like that, we give pre-shipment approval. Meaning your product is fine, okay, we're giving you a pre-shipment approval. And then we ask the company, ship 2 lots, whether it is food or drug, ship 2 lots to us, and 2 lots is a lot of money. And then we will sample those 2 lots. If it is different from the sample that they gave us, that led to the approval, we're going to tell them, take back your 2 lots.
How many of that scenario has played out?
We just said that particular policy about a month ago, and it's going to take effect from January. Meaning that we have an approval given to a particular market authorization holder coming from overseas. It is pre-shipment approval. When they bring the 2 lots, we test it again to make sure that they have not changed the formulation on us. Because sometimes they do change formulation that is different from the ones that they submitted for approval.
Because a lot of people are concerned now that it seems to suggest that Nigeria is becoming a dumping ground for drugs and food. And these adverse effects that I'm talking about, which you have attested to, and some of them you've seen, it keeps increasing. What are you doing to reduce it?
That is where part of what I'm saying. So after the shipment, the shipment of the 2 lots, and we find out that it's fine, okay, we give approval. Then we continue life product cycle monitoring. So the second year, we're going to go to the market and monitor to make sure that it is still the same formulation or recipe that was submitted for approval that is there. We do this 3rd, 4th, 5th year until they renew. When they are renewing, we do the testing again. So the essence is continuous monitoring of what is coming into the country. That is the only way we're going to keep bad food or bad drugs from our people. And well, let me just give you an example. There was a case of listeriosis. Listeriosis is a very bad disease, and it's a result of bad cold meats like bologna or whatever that was shipped from South Africa. The CDC informed us, and we went straight to the supermarkets and took them off the shelf. We took them off the shelf, and we sanctioned the particular supermarkets because recently we sanctioned them. We've told them not to import, so that we remove them from our list of products that we allowed into the country. So we do all this on a daily basis. That's what NAFDAC does. We don't, we don't publicize it every time because it's almost routine for us to shut down, to remove things from the shelves, to give sanctions. It's part of our own regulatory daily routine.